Yeah, this is just a personal message. Um, I don't really know how it's going to come across, but frankly, it's gotten to the point to where this is really just how I feel. I literally hate Democrats. I hate them to the core. I hate the party. I hate what they stand for. I hate them. I just don't disagree with them. I hate them, and that's hate is a very strong word. Maybe I shouldn't use it. That's maybe it that is partially a shortcoming of mine. And I'm willing to be introspective and meditate on that. But let me tell you something. When I was a kid growing up, I used to I used to admire my dad when he got into his Air Force uniform. He flew in the old Starlifter C-141s, and he wears flight uniform, and sometimes he wears dress uniform, and I was always sort of impressed with that and proud of that. Another thing I used to love reading about was space exploration. Of course, back then I was a kid in the 60s and 70s, so there wasn't a lot to read about, right? But just the Gemini program and the Mercury program, and finally Apollo program, and landing people on the moon. And I thought about how great that was, and of course I learned about World War II and how we, even though a lot of people fought with the Allies in World War II, it was America that really won that war because we had the industrial power, right? I mean, you had a lot of different countries fighting, but most of the Europeans' all of the industrial production capability of like England, France, and all that had been destroyed. They could not produce weapons. If you have a bunch of armies without weapons, you got nothing. So even though a bunch of people fought on our side, we provided pretty much 99% of all the weaponry. So we basically won that war. So anyway, what am I trying to say? I grew up. I love my country, man. I like my country. Sure, it has its faults, but what the greatness of what America is, and the inspired idea that it was founded on, and the great things that we've accomplished far outweigh our mistakes and our errors of the past, which we have pretty much done our penance for, more than our share of penance for our mistakes. So I love my country. And when I go online now and I see how Democrats and the left, the extremist left, has literally destroyed every aspect of this nation, everything you can think of, whether it's good old fashioned patriotism, to science. They have allowed politics to literally destroy science and medicine. You think it's not possible, but scientists and doctors can be just as corrupt as anybody else. And of course, the school system and of course the college system are utterly destroyed. Even Bill Maher, a noted leftist, he wrote this book, and he he gave this bullet list of what modern higher education is, and it's like he says it's a factory that just turns out Marxists and assholes. That's all they are, and he's right. But you know when I see all the horrible things that the Democrats have done, when I see how they pervert the minds of little children almost in a quasi pedophile act, I might say. When you're putting up gay flags and tranny flags and sick pornography into elementary schools, that's sick. And then you've destroyed the ranks of the military by allowing sick perverts. There used to be a military code of conduct and ethics and morals that you were not allowed to violate. I mean, stuff, like even like maybe having sex out behind the officers club, you get busted. I mean, because that's a moral, a code and stuff like that. And now they got these sick trannies in there, and it's such an embarrassment. I mean, I can't even count the ways they've destroyed society. They've destroyed medicine. They've said that abnormal perverts are normal, and then they pass laws so that if you say the abnormal perverts are not moral, you can get in trouble. You can lose your job. I mean, they've utterly destroyed patriotism in this country. That more than half of kids these days say they hate America or they're embarrassed of America, or at the very least they don't love their country and they're not patriot. I'm really shocked that we're actually meeting our military recruitment goals, but that's another story. I mean, and it's the little things like even something small like Disneyland being destroyed in the name of wokeness. Hollywood, you can't even watch a Hollywood movie these days. It's just garbage and filth. And then other things, and I mean, and the things that have come before recent events, like the women's movement. I mean, sure, women want equal rights, and there's a fairness to that. But I actually heard a feminist recently say that women have destroyed. It was women who have literally destroyed entire generations of children. They've destroyed them because of their pettiness and their me, 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 me. Listen, and she was talking about the fact that, no matter how politics change and no matter how points of view change, a human child will always need the same amount of nurturing and care and devotion from a mother and everything that a human child is always. I mean, a human child is a human child, whether it was born 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, or this year. But generations of kids recent have been denied that because women, they want to have a baby and then they want to slough it off on the maid or the daycare center, and so it's all kinds of stuff. I mean, I could go on and on. And then destruction of the market and the economy and jobs and anyway, every single possible way that you can think of, Democrats and leftists have destroyed this nation. They've brought us to the brink of another civil war. Let's not forget that Democrats fought to keep the slaves. They fought to keep slavery legal. They plunged us into the last civil war, and they're plunging us into another. And Democrat politicians are the most corrupt liars. If you can side with a wrong side of an issue, a Democrat politician will always side on the wrong side, whether it's siding with the illegal aliens against the citizens, whether it's siding with terrorist Hamas over Israel. I mean, you name it. Oh, I didn't even mention the rise of the anti-Semitism on the left. I mean, you won't. All those Jew-hating, Hamas-supporting freaks. They're not. None of those are Republicans. I can tell you that. But my point is, I kind of strayed a little bit. I grew up admiring my country and loving my country and understanding the faults that we have, but seeing how we corrected them and the amazing gift. I mean, Ronald Reagan was right. America truly is a shining city, or it was a shining city on the hill that people wanted to come to for liberty and freedom. And the Democrats have destroyed it all. Every aspect of it, every single aspect, from schools to education to the economy to jobs to the sciences to just good old fashioned patriotism to the very nature of human beings themselves. They don't even know what a woman is. And yes, and for all these reasons, I hate Democrats. I hate them to the core. Now, as a Catholic and a Christian, intellectually, I understand that I should not hate. But guess what? I'm also a flawed human being, and my emotions will get the best of me occasionally. And despite what my intellect's telling me, my gut tells me that I hate these bastards. I hate them. They are my enemy. Democrats and the left are my enemy. I see them. That's how I will always see them from now on. They are the enemy of America. They are the enemy of God. They are the enemy of goodness, of liberty, of children. They are the enemy of this nation and everything it was founded on. They are the enemy. And I will no longer, I don't ever want to hear another fucking word about reaching across the aisle and bipartisanship. Fuck them. The Democrats are worse than the Nazis of, and I'm talking about straight policy. I'm not just talking about the way they lie about Trump being a Nazi just because they suffer. They don't like Trump and they suffer from TDS. Trump, there's no Trump policy, actual policy that resembles anything the Nazis ever did. But I can start listing off a whole bunch of Democrat policies. Again, abortion. Trump, I mean, Hitler murdered 6 million Jews. How many hundreds of millions of babies have been murdered by abortion? Hitler pushed junk science about Aryan superiority. What about this junk science of transgenderism? Hitler took away guns because that's what all authoritarians do. And by God, the Democrats, for all intents and purposes, have taken away guns. You know, gun control and gun regulations are so thick in places like New York that you can't get a gun. I mean, technically, it's legal to get a gun, but they make it so difficult that 9 out of 10 people throw their hands up and say, "I can't get a gun." You know, I can go on and on ways, squashing free speech. It has only been a couple of years since Democrats and the left and their lackeys who run high tech and YouTube and all that kind of stuff started smashing the free speech of anybody who disagreed with them, whether they disagreed about COVID, whether they disagreed about the stolen election, whether they disagreed about any number of things. You disappeared. Your accounts disappeared. Hell, they even canceled Donald Trump's accounts. So they're the enemies of free speech. They're murderous thugs, and now we see them. They're always out in the streets burning down. Whether it was BLM, whether it was Antifa, whether it was the recent hatred against Elon Musk and then burning down the Tesla factories, and now the people they're waving Mexican flags and burning down the streets. But all that stuff comes ultimately from a central locust, someone up at top who's pulling the strings and funding all that stuff. It all comes from the same source, the extremist left and the people who fund. But anyway, again, I'm digressing. I mean, for all these reasons, I hate them. They are the enemy. Democrats are the enemy of America, of our freedom, of our liberty. They spit in the face of God. Just watch YouTube. They mock God, they laugh at God. They are the enemy. And like I said a minute ago, I don't ever want to hear another fucking word about bipartisanship, reaching across the aisle, all this fucking bullshit. Oh, we need to get together. Oh, we need to stop screaming at each other. Fuck that shit. They are the enemy. And they have a goal. All this craziness, which seems disconnected, is really not disconnected. They have a goal. Their goal is to destroy the America that you and I know and to create a socialist, quasi Marxist America on the ashes of the America they destroyed. That's the ultimate goal. If you think that I'm crazy for saying that, you better pull your head out of your ass. I mean, let me tell you something. I want you to try a little experiment. Next time you're, sort of goofing around online and you're on Google, go to Google Images and start looking at different these protests, right? Climate change protests, abortion protests, oil, big oil protests. Somewhere in the background, or if you look at big pictures and they're all waving their flags and they're marching with their banners and stuff, you will always see some sort of hammer and sickle Marxist symbols, and you will always see some sort of connection to capitalism or anti-capitalism. Like when it comes to oil and fossil fuel, they will always say oil and fossil fuel and capitalism has to go, or something like that. But you will always see they always manage. There's a common thread if you look carefully with Marxism and the symbols of Marxism, like the hammer and sickle, and an anti-capitalist message. You will see that, you'll see it in the strangest places. You'll see it at abortion, pro-abortion events, pro-abortion events, um, and again, like I said, climate, uh, 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 the WTO when they have their thing, and what was the other thing I was thinking about? Well, when they protest against oil, fossil fuels, all that kind of stuff. There's always a common thread, and because that's the common goal. And again, you may think I'm crazy, but I guarantee you that I'm not. And that all adds up. That's just further evidence of what I said earlier, that the extremist left, who now also controls the Democrat Party, is the enemy. They are the enemy. People mocked Trump for calling them the enemy within. They are the enemy within, literally. It's not a joke. He's dead serious, and he's deadly correct. I would, I would, uh, I would suggest that you read a book called American Marxism by Mark Levin, because the Marxist state that the left wants to establish once they've fully destroyed America, it's not quite the Marxist state of the Russians. It has an American flavor to it, but it's Marxism all the same. I would just point out to you one detail if you're interested. The boogeyman, and this is something for you to think about when you see the attacks on families, transgenderism, and all that stuff, the attacks on humanity, churches. You see all these homosexual churches. They call themselves Christian churches. Really, they're satanic, and and all that kind of stuff. But in in the old Soviet Marxism, the boogeyman, because everybody has a boogeyman, right? Hitler's boogeyman was the Jews. In, in the Marxism of Russia, the boogeyman was what they called the bourgeois, or the wealthy, these sort of wealthy, lazy class. All the poor workers are starving, and then there's this small. That's why Occupy Wall Street is totally Marxist. Them and their one percenters. That's just a repackaging of the old Soviet Marxism, right? So anyway, that was their boogeyman. In American Marxism, the boogeyman is goes not by wealth, but by race. The boogeyman in American Marxism is the white man. And you think about that, and then you think about things like CRT, how they teach kids in school that white people uh, are are just rotten to the core. It's just in our genes to be. That's what they teach. I mean, that's not exactly what they say, but that's basically what they say. Is the white man, and they've been teaching for years in colleges that the white man is the enemy of the poor, innocent, peaceful Indians. The same Indians that used to scalp each other. And Oh, and how we stole Mexico. Yeah, remember the Aztecs and the human sacrifices? But the white man is the destroyer. The white man is evil. The white man is racist. There's a reason for all that because the white man is the boogeyman of the American Marxist. Uh, and so you need to learn that. But I stand by what I said at the top of this video. I For all these reasons that I've just spoken of, I hate Democrats to the core. I hate them. I'm watching these videos and I'm seeing these little fucking Antifa punks and these little punks in the street burning the American flags, destroying businesses, just beating people up. I'm like, fuck. I really wish that the National Guard and the police would. I just wish they'd flat out open fire on them. Just mow the fuckers down. That's where I'm at right now. As far as I'm concerned, they are the enemy. The enemy. If they had their way, let me tell you something. If the people protesting in the streets had their way, if they had a magic wand and they could wave it and they had their way, you and me, Trump, pretty much every white person, we would all be in a Nazi style concentration camp if they had their way. You think I'm wrong? You better guess again. They are the enemy. They deserve to be hated. I don't want to hear anything else about bipartisanship, reaching across the aisle, getting along with each other. Fuck that. If they believe the things that they believe and that they are promoting and the agendas that they're trying to advance, they are the enemy. They are the enemy of that flag you see behind me. They are the enemy of all the good Americans who fought and died to preserve our freedoms. They are the enemy. I say that the Democrat Party is a criminal hate organization. It must be eradicated. It must be declared illegal, the same way that the Nazi Party was declared illegal by Germany. It must be made illegal for crimes against humanity. These crimes include slavery. These crimes include starting a civil war to keep slavery legal. These crimes include the invention of terrorist groups all the way from the KKK to today's BLM and Antifa and everything else. Uh, they are guilty of crimes against humanity on a scale that would make Hitler piss his pants. That's what I feel. That's what I feel. And if anybody doesn't like it, that's too bad. If you got a half a brain, you'll know that everything that I'm saying is correct. I hope, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens, but I hope that someday somebody has the balls to go. Trump has had the balls to go about. He's gone pretty farther than anyone else in calling out frauds and liars and fake news and all that. I just hope that someday somebody has the balls to really go 100% where they need to go and eradicate and illegalize the Democrat Party for the criminals and the enemies of the state that they really are. That is my evening muse, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you in another video.